Yeah, you thought
We're back.
You thought we were just gonna leave you like,
We're back.
you know, standing there like, what happened? But we're here. We're back. So on the topic of fear and the fears that we have within us, especially in relationships, and what we were talking about. Hey, Level Up, we lost you guys. We are back. We were talking about our own fears and insecurities that we bring to our relationships. And my beloved and I, Jeannie and I, have been in a relationship almost a year, and it's been the best almost year of my life.
Yes.
Because the love we have for each other, and she's extraordinarily beautiful, but also, we made a pledge to each other to really dive in to do the work together.
Yeah.
Because all of us, oh, thank you. Welcome, Level Up. Woo-hoo. We'll drink for you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes.
We always do happy hour and we have a glass of wine when we do our IGTV live.
Yes. But we're going to toast to insecurities, because without those fears and insecurities, we would never really learn how to be our best self for each other. And a lot of it is understanding that when one of us is feeling insecure, it's not the other person that's doing it. It's us doing it to ourselves. And being really conscious of our insecurities that we bring to the table, and your partner and Jeannie understanding that my insecurity, okay, I have that moment, that fear, but eventually, hopefully, God willing, usually within a couple minutes, we self-regulate, or an hour, we self-regulate, and creating that space for our insecurities, and understanding that, you know, Jeannie's showing up, being her best self, because she loves the relationship, I love the relationship, and there's a mutual understanding that we are perfectly imperfect creatures with this amazing supercomputer, just like this Instagram connection and my Wi-Fi connection, which isn't great because I probably don't have enough bandwidth for some reason.
And I've been telling that for months now.
Triggered my insecurity about my own bandwidth. You know, I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. Metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like our brain is our microprocessor that's controlling all the essential components of our brain is glitchy. It's buggy. Hey, your angel Cindy. Welcome. It's glitchy. You're going to have glitches. You're going to have moments of insecurity. And that is normal. So what's the question? Sorry, PTSD. What causes
fear?
What caused the fear?
Causes fear.
So level hey Linda, welcome. Hey David.
David.
What's up, David? David from San Diego.
Woo-woo.
So hey Diakis, when you're talking about PTSD, are you talking about in regarding your own situation? Yes. So even PTSD, you can label whatever you want. If you're bringing past traumas, things that have happened in the past that you were experiencing, you can label it whatever you want. PTSD, emotional baggage. It's going to show up if you haven't done the work, and if your partner is willing to accept that and see, oh, this person is amazing and beautiful and lovely, has fears like all of us, and maybe has had some more issues than the average person walking around on this planet. I'm going to accept them for who they are and create space for that, create a container for that. She is gorgeous.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, she makes me look good, I know.
But I also think in partnership, what caused our fear? I mean, look, this is what I feel, is that fear comes from thought. And a thought is just a thought. Like, there's no grounding to it. There's no legs to it. There's no solidity to it.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
They're just thoughts.
Like, thoughts don't exist. You can't, like, touch a thought. You can't, they're not tangible.
They're not running around the house. We don't have, like, a dog named Thought running around the house reminding us of our fears.
So when fears come up through thoughts, what I do is I just, instead, like in the past, a fear would come up, I would get a feeling, and then I would create a story around it. So like, if I had a fear of speaking in public, then I would create, oh, you know what, I'm not good at that, so that's what I shouldn't do, and just stay away from it.
Avoid
and then,
it.
And then we create safety boundaries around things. But now, when I have a thought and it's not in my truth, it's then I just go, oh, look, I'm having insecure thinking right now.
Again.
And it's literally just that. It's just insecure thinking. Oh, I'm having fearful thinking. And then that's it. Like, I don't create, so I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, look at me right now. I'm being human. My mind is working. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling insecure. So let me just feel scared and insecure, but I'm not gonna attach any story to it. And then generally, within 10 minutes, I get back to my center and my well-being, and I'm distracted by something else in my life, and I just don't even revisit that anymore. But I didn't create a story, like I am this.
Right, and you know, in our relationship, I came to the relationship coming out of a divorce, and I had all my fears about, you know, being vulnerable to Jeannie. I had my fear of
Getting back into another relationship.
Right, getting back and all that stuff, you know, and fucking it up. Excuse my French.
Ah, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's so super simple. Once we just get it, it's like, oh, I'm just having insecure thinking right now. Period.
That's it.
That's it. Nothing else is going on.
There's nothing going on. You know, there's not a hologram of your fear. You know, doesn't pop up. You know, this
Exactly.
it's the intelligence is your intelligence in here, But just like a Wi-Fi signal, like my Wi-Fi signal went on the fritz. Your brain is not perfect, although it's a brilliant computer, and the microprocessor in your brain sometimes glitches. There's biology behind it. There's evolution behind it. We all bring fear and insecurities to relationships, to business partnerships, to family relationships, and that is in every one of us. So getting back to, you know, coming into our relationship, is that I came out of a divorce that was painful, and I attach all the fears and insecurities to that, but I could either be immobilized by the fear and be stuck in quicksand and not find love and be able to experience the love that I have with Jeannie in our partnership and take another risk, or just like, you know, live in isolation and just be kind of, you know, caught up in my own fear, which doesn't exist. You can either look at your past life challenges or obstacles that you've experienced as fearful and, you know, I don't have what it takes to be a fill in the blank, or I could say, okay, what were the life lessons that I've learned? What can I take away from that and use it to make me into a better person, regardless if it was my fault or whoever's fault it was in the demise of the relationship. And it's not attaching a narrative and creating a narrative about what I did in the failure of a past relationship. Then it all comes down to our neurobiology. It all comes down to how we evolve as human beings, because science has shown us, neuroscience has shown us that our brain loves fear. Human beings, that's why we watch CNN, we watch the news, right?
I don't watch the news.
You don't watch the news. I just like to to have debates.
Yeah.
I like to debate.
Yeah, I know you do.
And neuroscience teaches us that our brain loves to go into fear mode, loves the stress hormones, because our brain wants to protect us. Our brain, through evolution, says, uh-oh, there's a negative signal coming through, there's something's not right, so it's going to protect you. And that is the fear response. And over time, physiologically, through emotions, through our brain's processing, we get addicted to that fear. We get addicted to those insecurities. And that's why news shows and even weather. The Weather Channel is like the most watched show on we both don't really, I don't have a TV, but.
When I did, I used to love watching the weather.
Right, because, thunderstorms and blizzards
Yeah.
and people getting stuck on the freeway and whatever stimulates cortisol. Mm-hmm. But being really good custodians of our neurophysiology and all of us, and really being more self-aware of what is real fear. Like when the bee just flew in, you're like, uh-oh, I gotta do something about that.
Oh, the bee.
The bee in the kitchen?
Yeah.
When the bee flew in, if there's a bee chasing after you, that's a, that is a real fear. Or you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. I don't think they exist anymore.
No.
That's a real fear. That's when the brain is working correctly, but sometimes
because it's a physical thing coming at you.
Right.
Right? When you're kind of just there on your own, or your partner standing there and there's no threat being posed at you except words.
Yes.
It's how we take the words and then create our story of what they mean.
Right.
So someone can say the same thing to you, and it all depends on your narrative that you have with that person in your head, how you interact to it.
That's exactly right.
And we could even talk.
What? No, go ahead.
No.
Well, but so if you're being a good custodian of your mind and being self-aware is if you're really in fear mode. If you get really triggered, whether it's in a relationship or in a colleague or an employee, or you have to do a presentation tomorrow and your boss is really coming down on you and being really difficult. And is really demanding, and you're feeling that fear, there's two things you can do with it. You can let it immobilize you and get caught up in the narrative, get caught up in your negative self-talk, I'm going to fail tomorrow, I'm going to freeze up. Or you don't feed those fear monkeys, you don't feed the story, you just live in the fear. And if it's really, really immobilizing, if it's really too much for you and you're feeling that fear, you can take a pause and just take a step back. Put the engines in neutral, whether it's taking a nap or meditating to quiet down the mind. Because we need the fear. We do our greatest work. We create our next project. We get that new job. We write that new book. We create that new business that you're doing. Mm-hmm. In fear. Fear has a positive contribution, because without fear, which is most of us get fearful of the unknown, of things that we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? We don't know. We wake up every day, thank God. Within that space of fear, some of the most creative things and the most successful things can happen. And
generally we experience fear when we're in the unknown. And when we're in the unknown, we're actually in the present moment, because life is unknown. I mean, I don't know what's happening 2 seconds from now.
Right.
Like a car can just come crashing through our window right now and knock us over. Like, we don't know. Hopefully we're eating dinner after this and my sweet potato fries I made.
I can't wait for that.
But the unknown is the present moment. It's like, because all we have is right now. So when we really get comfortable in that...
Here we go. We're back. Sorry about that. See? Insecure thoughts. Insecure Wi-Fi. Awesome. So the takeaway from this, and there's no easy solution to any of this. A lot of it is really practicing mindfulness. If you can step back from your insecure thoughts, whether you're in a relationship or you're just having your fear of financial issues or whatever it is.
I have those fears.
You have those fears. Yes.
And when I am in those fears, ever since I left corporate America, where I had a paycheck and all I knew was collecting a security of a paycheck, and then I went 100% entrepreneur, making all my money myself. there was about a year where I was constantly in fear like survival, like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills, I'm gonna be homeless, like all these crazy thoughts went on in my head. And then finally one day I just kind of woke up and I was like, what, like, I've been doing this for a year now.
This is a great example. So
I mean, it was a long process
Yeah.
because I had to be in my own shit for a little bit, but then one day I woke up and I was like, I'm just tired of feeling so insecure around money because it's actually holding me back from being in my true potential to actually create more abundance. So I just caught myself and I was like, no, you know what? Like, I've never been on the streets. I've never been homeless. I have an amazing support system. There's always a plan B. And there's nothing I need to worry about.
So what Jeannie did is she challenged her own glitchy thoughts, because she's proven to herself in the past that she is successful, that she's smart enough, and she has the knowledge, skills, and abilities to move forward. She recognized that the fear doesn't exist, that ultimately having a happy, and peaceful life is really the anecdote, despite your financial situation.
Well, and it's the truth.
It's
my resilience and my innate wisdom is my truth. And
Right.
I've always been taken care of.
Exactly. And
I mean, even when years ago, back in 2012, I kind of gave up my whole life and I went on this journey and I came back to LA and I didn't have any money. I didn't have a job. And I'm like maxed out my credit cards and I made it work. Like, a friend took me in and gave me a place to stay, and then I got a little part-time job, but slowly I rebuilt everything within 6 months, and I was
Right.
making more money than I was before I left everything, and everything came back into well-being and
That's
balance.
right.
So like, even when the times are really hard, we have this innate wisdom and this innate resilience, and
Right.
it's like, trust our resilience, and you can take that into anything, any kind of fear, any kind of disturbance or suffering or pain in life, and it's like, trust your own resilience. And when we can really trust that, that's when our inner power comes out and we can create and be and do anything.
that's really good. but behind sorry, I'm kicking you. Behind Jeannie's journey to realize, it's like that self-realization that the fear, the anxiety, and being caught up in our own internal terror is, one, challenging the fear. Is asking yourself questions. It's like, why am I feeling this way? I'm still alive. I still got a roof over my head. I still have people that love me. It's challenging those belief systems, because even when something traumatic happens, some of us have had traumatic things happen to us in life. And those of you that are, harness that coping muscle and challenge that fear and said no to those feelings of being stuck and the terror and the dread of not believing in yourself enough to move forward and to getting out of your own way, is literally getting out of your own way. And there are a couple ways that you and I do this. The first step, I think, for both of us, and it's worked for both of us, is deep play. Deep play, like us dancing to the panic. You are thinking about, like, how many people you need to enroll in your amazing... Oh, she's got a mastermind coming up. How many people you need to enroll in your mastermind?
No.
Can they see my head? My
No.
big head?
No, you're totally outside of like...
Right?
Yeah.
It's getting out of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's engaging in activities like going on a long walk.
Why don't you get back
No,
into
okay. It's going on a long walk. It's dancing. It's engaging in activities. It could be really simple. Maybe it's reading a book, taking a time out to get out of your ego-fueled fear, because the ego, the amygdala, our limbic system, which controls fear, controls how we respond to a stimulus or to a situation that's not positive. We lose our job, someone dies, all these life things, and saying, you know what, I do have control and agency over my thoughts, and I'm not going to let my own fear turn me into a victim. And that is the alchemical gold and the real secret behind the secret. I mean, that really is. And again, this takes time, this takes practice, but you can start right now by realizing that you have a perfectly imperfect supercomputer up here with a microprocessor that glitches like any piece of technology, like Wi-Fi, like anything. And it's just my silly, glitchy brain that sometimes fires these neurochemicals, these stress hormones that shouldn't be firing, because you have your wellness. Even if you don't have your wellness, even if you are feeling ill, even if you have something, a physical issue, challenge those thoughts and see yourself as a divine human being of love. And I'm not idealizing this or turning this into, kumbaya, but someone who's deserved of love, of success, step by step, minute by minute, and being aware of the world, being aware of right now, and also being aware that your microprocessor within your brain is gonna glitch, and create space for that, especially when you have a loving partner that sees the love and sees the brightness and sees how wonderful you are, or family. And if they don't, Friends
are the best.
Friends was God's gift for family.
Yeah.
Or apology for family, I think.
Apology for me.
It's apology. So flip the switch. Flip that neurochemical switch. And our brain is a neuroplastic organ. It's kind of like a muscle. You go to the gym once, you're not going to see results in one day, right?
I wish.
Baby,
I always think that.
You're gorgeous.
Go to the gym, I'm like, all right. And then the
Insecure
next day, I'm
thoughts.
like, I haven't lost any
Insecure
weight
thoughts.
yet. I know, right?
But if you have to practice this. So.
And it's really about just becoming suspect of your thought.
Yes.
Because it's just a thought.
Just a thought.
And that's it. It's like go back to the simplicity of a thought is just a thought.
Yes.
There's nothing concrete to it. There's no legs to it. There's no grounding to it. It's just a thought. Period.
And in our relationship, when one of us would do something silly or, the everyday stuff that a couple, two people that are cohabitating and living together deal with,
Yeah.
is like, uh-oh, I did something wrong. Uh-oh, I said something wrong. Uh-oh, she's going to leave. Insecure fucking thought. Number
Yeah.
2.0, baby. Right? That's an insecure thought. If the person really loves you and sees the light within you, they're not going to leave because you dropped the glass on the floor or because, you burnt the chicken. I don't know. Or that you might have said something that you were trying to be silly and be sarcastic about, and the other person gets
And I take it personally.
Yeah, you take it personally, but that triggers your thoughts. So that triggers your insecurities, and realize that you're beloved. That I love you.
I know.
I love you, and I believe in you, and that I was trying to be silly, and then triggered whatever.
Do you want to be in the camera?
No, I don't want to be in the camera. I'll just talk with my shoulder. Shoulder, what do you have to say? So it's really being a good architect of your thoughts, and lightening the fuck up, right?
Well, and laughing at ourselves.
Yes. And deep play.
Yeah.
And do things with your partner, or when you're not working.
You know what we love to do? We play Uno.
Yes, it's a silly game.
Sunday nights.
I've been kicking her ass lately, actually.
I don't think
you
so.
beat me well.
I
Listen,
think I'm the winner.
you beat me in bowl. I mean, I'm a terrible bowler. She's like,
I won at bowling.
she's
But,
like Kingpin or.
having
What's up?
What's
What's up,
up?
LA Tiger?
LA
What's up?
Tire 7. Woo woo.
What are you? 213.
But even
Yeah.
playing a game, we love playing Uno. My girlfriend, my best friend, we get up. We committed to right when we wake up in the morning, putting on a dance song and dancing around the house to it. And that just lightens you up and hi.
Oh, thank you.
And it just brings joy. So it's like as much seriousness and inner work we're doing and you know, getting caught up in life and the journey and the stories and all of that. We also got to just say,
keep going. Yes.
Just like forget all of that, and really life is about play, life is about joy, life is about love, life is about connection.
Keep going, sister.
And just be happy.
Yes. when you can engage, how long we've been together? Yes.
Oh, we're definitely in love.
Oh.
Almost a year. It'll be a year next month.
Yes.
We made it a year.
We made it a year. But see, this is the thing. Again, for those of you just joining us, we both came. Thank you. She makes me look good because she's gorgeous. But we unpackaged our shit, and Jeannie has done her work, and Jeannie is also, you know, she understands the human connection. She understands our the quote unquote humanness. That if you're over 30, or you know, you've been in other relationships or marriages, and then you're going to come to the relationship with your own beautiful Louis Vuitton Samsonite emotional baggage, you know, and if there's a true connection,
yeah,
and there's real connection and there's real love, then that person's going to create space when you have that insecurity or those fears crop up that are triggered when your partner or your beloved does something that makes you feel scared.
You know, if you're in a relationship right now, and when you bring feelings or you bring stuff to a partner and they can't handle it, and they don't have the willingness to look at that and do their own work, that's probably not the best partner for you, because in partnership, there's room for our baggage, but then there's
the second time.
But then there's also room for each person to want to do their inner work, to grow together, to create that balance, that harmony, and that's what's really important in relationships. Because if the other person doesn't want to do their inner work, then
let's
you
this
can't
is good.
grow
This
together.
But reframing inner work, you know, it's again
just looking at our own stuff.
It's really looking at our own stuff, and it's also having the humility. It's having humility to reclaim your true understanding of who you really are. And a lot of people who are loving, well-intentioned people don't want to unpack the darkness. And we talked about this in the last IGTV Live. Mm-hmm. The darkness that we all have within us, and the polarity that we all have within us. I mean, we're both Geminis, so we're basically fucked in a good way.
Yeah,
but we get it. I'm like looking at my
Yeah. He drives me crazy. I drive him crazy. But really, we're just mirrors for each other, for ourselves.
That's right. And I don't take her craziness personally. I have a moment where I'm like, did you just say that? And I'm like, oh, there's my insecurity. Why am I going there? Because I love her. She's gonna say things that might make me scared. Might make me question, like, does she love me? Is she gonna leave? Is this it? This is the end. It's like the Doors are playing in the back on the back of my head of the song. This is the end. Great song. And so we have that understanding, and we set that up early on. And we also know how to play, deep play. Mm-hmm. I love her company. she loves my company. We
sing, we dance in the mornings.
Right.
We're silly.
We're gonna make them all throw up.
Yeah.
But
we should start wrapping it up though.
Oh yeah.
Well, we have our sweet potato fries in the oven.
Okay. So let's wrap this up. I hope this has been helpful.
LA Tiger, we're both Geminis.
Cancer rising, Libra rising. Awesome. California in the house. Okay. So the takeaway from this is look at your fears, your insecurities as the fertilizer for getting out of your comfort zone getting out of your ego and approaching your fears with humility, with understanding that these fears, insecurities, and everything that's packaged within you, when the fears become overwhelming and become like you can't get out of your own way, you can't get out of bed, you're stuck, ask yourself questions. Why am I feeling this way? Oh yeah, because I just lost my fucking job. I deserve to feel this way. Then ask yourself, well, why am I on this planet? Because to have fun, to participate in this experience called being a human, to meet this amazing human, this amazing beautiful woman named Jeannie, or whomever your beloved is. To get out of your own way and close and squelch that ego so you can get out of your own way. And I talk about a lot of this by challenging your own belief systems that you've kind of taken on board from family or from just living, from past bad experiences in my book coming up soon in the next couple months. But it's really embracing who you really are, which is deserving of love and deserving of being, you know, a real curator of your thoughts and being curious about the world and being your own behavior. So I want to thank all of you for being here tonight.
Yes,
it's
thank
been
you
an
guys.
honor and a privilege. I can't speak. And I'm going to see all of you next week for another fantastic IGTV Live. Hope this has been helpful. If you're interested in my work, you can go to my website, www.solutionist180.com, or DM me and we can talk about how I can be of service to you. Hope this has been helpful. It's an honor and a privilege. This is the amazing Jeannie Berger.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great week, y'all.
Thank you guys. Have a good weekend.
You'll never be bored.
Peace.